It's called to order. We're going to forego the approval of minutes and financial reports pending a quorum, and we'll go right into new business.
Okay, right into new business. So first one is just an update for everybody here. We've been talking about a lot of different abatements with both EDAC and the RDC boards, giving you guys a quick update. You may have seen it in the update emails. Project Vanguard, which is Harris Companies, the confirming resolution happened at the June council meeting. It was unanimous. That's for 10 years of personal property tax abatement. So that is good. We had the new project from Kaiser Aluminum, which is called Project Viper. Over $100 million investment on that facility. It was a one-step abatement because we already had an EDA on those properties, so we didn't have to take the 2 steps. That was unanimously approved at the June County Council meeting for 10 years of real and personal property improvements. And then Project Duck, which is the co-location plastics project that is looking at the Shell building. And that one for their preliminary resolution, which was approved. It's a US company, German company, co-location and expansion of that building by another 100,000 square feet. That was approved, and they'll be going back to the July meeting for the confirming resolution. We also had our annual compliance where we go and tell county council, you know, what people have built and who they've hired and who's in compliance. All of our previous abatements, except 2, we either go to the June or July meeting. So we had most of them go to the June meeting. We had 2, which were first year abatements, Matrix and Industrial Park Holdings. They got their paperwork in, and we're taking them to the July meeting. And so that's kind of the quick update on that. How's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Any questions on that? No? Okay, so all of those projects are moving forward and is great news. Quick new other update is this week I took a tour at Kaiser Aluminum and at Matrix, and both companies, their facilities are fantastic. Greg, you were on the Kaiser tour, and I think kind of going in between the old rolling mill stuff that was put in place in the 70s and 80s, and then walking into Roll Coat 4 and the size of that's that big building you see from the highway. And the technology that's in there, which is really leading Kaiser to be the industry leader in these coated aluminum beverage products. That can be everything from a cat food container to a beer bottle, aluminum beer bottle, to a soda can or an energy drink can. They are continuing, as you know, through that abatement that we just did, to invest and refurbish that facility. I think, Greg, you've been on that tour a bunch of times. You can see from the inside and outside of the facility, the work that's been done, and the cleanup and stuff that's been put in there. Do you have anything else strike you or come to mind?
I was amazed how clean it looked compared to past tours.
Okay. So, really nice tour.
Primarily in the new park.
No, we toured the whole, we kind of toured their whole kind of production from where it starts, and you make the big ingots, and then how those big giant ingots that are bigger than this room, and I forget how many, 44,000 pounds, and they get pushed and pushed and pushed down and stretched to where those rolls are football fields and football fields along of, you know, super thin aluminum. So really cool. Matrix, they're another, they're over here off of Van Road over there. They built their new headquarter building. They had an abatement. That building is sharp. And if you think the outside picture looks good, the inside tour was fantastic. I think it'd make a lot of people think like this is a really good place to work. And you kind of saw it when walking through there and the employees. And remember, they do 2 main products. They do underground mine safety. And so they have all of this indoor proximity stuff that works off of almost like indoor GPS with the machines. You have machines and operators in mines that are working these big bucket things and moving the coal around. And a lot of times what happens is it leads to fatality, is someone doesn't get seen, someone gets pinned up against the wall. So these have proximity with the people that are working and have like a caution zone that kind of slows the machine and alerts the operator. And then they have a shut off zone, and they're customizable. And we kind of got a tour of that out back behind there. They have a life-size replica of some of an underground mine here in southern Indiana that's still active. And they use that replica with concrete cinder blocks to do the walls of the mine for the space that these carts have to move. And so they can put the equipment on there and test and show it to people. And then their other thing they do is like indoor warehouse, similar stuff, but they do it with AI and cameras on forklifts and other machinery when you're in a warehouse and stuff's zooming around. And if you've ever driven a forklift and you got a big load in front of you, your visibility is not great. And so it's the same thing that it can detect people, and it's a big safety play. And so really good visit. They are actively hiring. You can go and see their website. They are trying to bring some real high skilled talent here to Warrick County. High-end engineering in all different fields on their products. And they are looking to continue. Good news is they're looking to continue to expand on their campus. They have another like 8 or 9 acres over there and multiple buildings, and they've got plans to expand. They're upgrading a lab building out behind this new building for some more testing. And so really good site visits, really good updates, and I think 2 really good projects to have in Warrick County.
If Matrix ever has another one, I'd like to see that.
I will make that happen.
I would like to see Kaiser soon.
Yeah. Kaiser and Alcoa are a little, tougher to maybe get in because of the safety and you gotta sign a waiver that you may get hurt and you wear boots and helmets and gloves and coats and all kinds of stuff they give you. But Matrix I was really impressed with their facilities. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, moving right along. Warrick Bucks. So we are gonna go to this was brought up last meeting. We're gonna go to the July County Council meeting for $100,000 appropriation to continue this program in 2026. We have over 80 participating businesses, and you guys have heard this before, but we have all these tools for the Kaisers and Alcoas and the big businesses of the world. This has been a super successful brick and mortar, mom and pop, Main Street type of business. We've done over $2.1 million in local spending that's been generated. The businesses love it. We haven't had a promotion in several months, hence we're going back for some more funding. And we get updates every single day. You can see that was from yesterday, middle of the week, and 10 gifts were redeemed. And this is 5 months out since the last promotion. And you can see they're spent at gift shops and restaurants and ice cream stores. And every day we don't know who's spending it, but we get reports on this and very detailed tracking, and it's been fantastic. So we're gonna go for some dollars to continue this through 2026. That will be at the July meeting. Any questions on Workbox? Okay. I'll keep going. Next one, Lloyd for All. We talked about this really quickly. We were lucky for them to expand it from the Vanderburgh County side, which in that first picture is the red box, over to that purple box and to include Warrick County. This is about better connectivity and multimodal transportation. So think pedestrians or cycling. INDOT, the MPO, Stantec, who's their consultant, they've continued to work. Warrick Trails has provided some information. They've continued to update all of their information. And these are only 3 or 4 of the maps of several Warrick County maps where they're trying to take sidewalk inventories, accident inventories of where we've had accidents across Warrick County, what the current crosswalk and sidewalk infrastructure is, and then heat maps for walking and bicycle travel. And that's gonna come all together in a meeting that's gonna be for both sections. So it's gonna include Warrick and Vanderburgh. It's gonna be a public meeting. It's gonna be in July. If you are interested in this kind of stuff, you need to try to come to this meeting. As soon as they said it, I will let you know, but we want to make sure Warrick County has a voice when it comes to this stuff. Because out of this, there will be highlighted priority projects. And out of that, when the MPO and INDOT get grants and other things, if we can highlight our priorities and make them their priorities as well, I think it will help with some funding as they want this thing to lead to actionable projects and improvements for transportation and safety. Any questions? All right, got a couple more updates. So one other thing, I skipped it. Oh, come on. Next slide. As soon as today, I didn't see if this afternoon if they did it because it's real sensitive to weather. You may have seen a story on 14 News that there could be lane restrictions for the next 2 weeks at Epworth. I went out last week and saw them putting this new, it's called a DuraBlend. It's a long-lasting concrete coloring system that's supposed to last longer than existing things. And they were doing this at Stockwell. So I went out to look at it. One of our biggest complaints still, you know, we don't get a lot, but one of the things people say about the Epworth intersection is all of that new pavement is all the same color. And so we do have people that scuff their tires, hit the medians, it's the same color as the rest of it. And so INDOT picked this burnt red color. It does really stand out. And they're gonna do that for all of the interior medians and interior curves at the Epworth intersection. So they're not gonna do it on, if there's a curb like against the grass or the guardrail, but everything else moving in, the islands will be painted just like you see here. And so if you go to Epworth, if there's no rain and you see some barrels, it's gonna be a short-term pain for, I think, a really nice safety and transportation improvement.
Barrels are up.
What?
Does it do anything at nighttime? Is it iridescent for us?
It, as far as I know, Paul, no.
Yeah.
Barrels are up, I didn't see.
Yeah, they will not touch it if there's rain in the forecast because they need to apply it, then it needs like 60 minutes to set. And then they put like a coating on top of it after it's done. And if there's a chance, they can't because it messes the whole process up. And you're gonna see these same colors as they're building out Cross Point and Burkhart. That's gonna be part of the project, but because Stockwell's already done and Epworth's done, they're coming back into it. Any questions? Okay. Old business. It's not really, there's old and new, I should say, and I kind of put it in the update email. I just wanted to make people aware that it really is kind of the summer of parks and amenities here in Warrick County. And it's something I think whether you've been involved with the project or not, there's a lot of things coming that you should be really happy about are coming to our community. And so the three big projects that are going to be done this year and even this summer, two on the left is the Ohio Township Park. Some of you guys came out for the tour that we were able to have that park. It's fantastic. I think it's gonna open the weekend of the 4th of July, so coming up here. In the top right corner is the Boonville Aquatic Center, and you can see from that picture, it is really coming along. And I think they have not announced the date of opening yet, but it is getting close. The pool's full and it is getting close and people are obviously getting really excited. And then if you have not been by Lou Dennis Park, and that's in Newburgh, with the splash pad that's there, whole new playground, fitness equipment, obstacle course and stuff. That project was waiting on some funding. Some ready funding came in to close that gap and that project was ready to go. And they started the next day. So that project is moving fast. I think they say by the end of the summer.
Yeah. It could be next 3 weeks.
Okay, great.
So,
And so 3 big projects all moving forward, which is really good. There are several other projects staying on parks and amenities that are at different stages of work. We've talked about these in here, but just to highlight them again. New gatehouse at Scales Lake is needed. That building is old, outdated, and outlived its purpose, outlived the size for the park staff that works in it. And it's also adding public amenities like camp store and public bathrooms at the front of the park and some other things. We expect that project to go out to bid in July here. And then we expect to go ask for an appropriation from council at the August council meeting. And we have dollars in an existing parks bond and the parks have some dollars and there'll be some added dollars to close the gap and make that happen. AMAX field upgrades are underway. And so some clearing's been done. The property is going to the commissioners at their next meeting to transfer over to the county. We've talked about that, additional parking and a walking path around that facility to start. with an eventual goal of turfing one of those fields there for Warrick County. So that's underway. 4-H, the big shelter and the animal barn, that project now is getting close to being fully funded. And the goal is to have that project done by fair next year. We're still working. No, but I'm meeting next Tuesday with them to get a better update. They've gotten some dollars from a foundation and they're hoping that a grant comes in to be the final closing and the dollars that 4-H had come up with. So they are getting significantly closer. Jeff is the town council out there in Elberfeld, and we are still working on having a pocket park. The land's under control out that way. Some of the funding is in place. And so we're gonna work to kick that project into gear to get that project done. Libert Road, we're still working with the two property owners there to connect the wellness trail to the new Ohio Township Park. Those property owners I've met with a couple times. They want some information from the county that their drive access won't be changed by putting a trail in, and what are their setbacks once the trail comes in, and some good questions that they should have that we are working on kind of getting them the information in the format that they want to move that project forward, because people will want to start walking and biking to that park when it opens. We're working out in Linville on their this is Linville Youth Baseball and Softball. If you've been out there, they really only have one field that they use. They need a second field and more parking, and I think I've talked about that in here before. We have got them a little bit of funding. We are gonna work on getting their budget in place and then figuring out how to close that gap with some edit dollars from the town of Linville as well. So those projects are in the works. There is a, that should say new trail, not new gate. I guess I have the gatehouse in my mind. New trail from the gatehouse to the beach is open at Scales Lake. It's a really nice trail, winds through the woods a bit. Has really got kids and people off the street, because that was the only way to go back and forth at Scales Lake. There's some new shade structures up here at Freeman Park that just got put in, and new swing set that's currently going in. It should be open as soon as the concrete dries out here at Freeman. So a lot of updates kind of everywhere you look, which is a good thing. Okay, any questions? Okay. Another quick update, and I'm not going to read this entire slide. But we're making progress on the RED program as well. We are breaking into 4 teams to do some different kinds of community engagement. You can see, really, I'll just go over those 4 teams. Our community survey, photo voice, where people take pictures of what they like about Warrick County, what they love about Warrick County, what they would like to love about Warrick County. Some micro interviews, which is a different engagement technique. And then there was a wild card idea. So we are building into teams. And then those projects are going to go out to the public to really hear, hey, what's something you're passionate about, or something we can work together on to make the community better. So excited about that. Any questions on that? Okay. Because it was asked last meeting about what the average wage is here in Warrick County. This is the updated 2026 numbers. The average wage in Warrick County is $29.62. I think that puts us maybe 12th in the state as far as average wage. You can kind of see on the map by the colors, the darker blue you are, the higher wages you have. And so we have a lot of manufacturing folks next to us in Gibson and in Pike and in Posey. And then around Indianapolis, there are a few. But you can kind of look at that, and if anyone wants to see it, I can email it to you. Any questions on that? Posey has a ton of manufacturing facilities, a ton of mining and those kind of things that drive high wages. Okay, one more thing. If you have not heard, has anyone heard about the Orr Fellowship? Jenna has? Okay. So I had a meeting with Ben Trockman, and he heads up the Orr Fellowship program for the region. And I'm certainly not an expert in it, but I want to bring it to you guys and to your businesses or any businesses that you work with. The Orr Fellowship's been going on for I think 25 years in Indianapolis. And I'll paraphrase the story that I heard secondhand, was that we wanted to bring this program here to the tri-state. And Jim Ryan kind of led the push. telling our fellowship to kind of bring it down here, or else we are going to create our own program. It's a postgraduate program that places people, postgraduate students with employers on a 2-year commitment. So think about, an internship might be 8 weeks. This is 2 years. And they become part of this cohort of fellows that are in their cohort, and there's other things that help bind them to the community and give them connection. And there's an amazing retention rate. I think if you ask some of our local companies, Deaconesses of the world, Center Points of the world, Amcors of the world, etc., some nonprofits have taken on fellows. And it doesn't, it can be in, I think Deaconess has someone that's in marketing working for them. So it doesn't have to be your core line of business. It can be HR, it can be marketing, it can be something else that you need. I would recommend, let me set up an introduction to Ben and have an hour meeting to learn more about it, because the success rate is through the roof. We all know talent's important. And I think it's something for you guys that you guys should know about. So if you want to know more, reach out to me and I will set that up. It's for, I'm trying to make more connections in Warrick County businesses, but if you have a business that's in the region that you're thinking about, I can help make that connection. Okay. Okay, we still do not have a quorum, Paul, so we will put these on. What we do? Okay. Brandon, are you online? There's no name. If you can hear me, or is that Courtney?
I'm here, it's Brandon.
Awesome, we do have a quorum.
All right, so let's return to the approval of minutes, May 21 meeting, 26, not 25, but I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Need a second.
Second.
There's a motion, need a second, any discussion? So in the room, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Take a roll call vote over the wire here.
Brandon.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Financial reports.
Okay, financial reports, financials were sent around in the packet from Friday. And you guys have seen all these before, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Motion to approve financials. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the financial reports. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Yeah, roll call.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Okay,
It's gonna be a shortfall of highway funds, highway funds due to the gas tax being dropped 3 months.
okay, I've heard that as well, and so that trickles down through state and local funding for our roads.
So when you get that information, you can update your spreadsheet. That's
Yeah. Okay, couple of things. You guys saw Time Travelers Ball is here this weekend, and there still is a ton of really good stuff to do around the 4th of July and America's 250. You want to take on parades and fireworks and all of those things. You don't have to look far to see kind of a series of events to be able to figure out what's going on. I put in the update email, but I just want a one time that makes me super happy. It's we talk about adding something to the fields over there in Linville. Baseball, softball has a real strong history up in northern Warrick County. And, kids from Elberfeld and kids from Linville feed into Tecumseh and that system. The Lady Braves have won it so much that they're gonna have to move up divisions now.
Another division. We've already moved up to
They
two.
were in
Now we're
1A,
3.
they went to 2A, now they're in 3A, even though the school's not getting any bigger. And so I think they're tied with Center Grove for the most.
They
state
actually, I studied that
championships.
you just, because I told Brad I was gonna check this out. So we have 24 sectional titles, 17 in a row, which is the state record. We have 17 regional titles, 9 semi-state titles, and 7 state titles for softball. And then we have 2 other state titles. So Tecumseh has 9 state titles. There's a basketball and a boys baseball as well. So they actually have the most in this area and in a lot of the state. So
So I think it's another feather in that we really do need to improve that facility because they're all sharing one field. And it is a real strain on the system out there. And
How many times have they won it too, when they moved up?
twice.
Twice.
This is the we back to
Yeah,
back.
then you had
Last year and
And
this
then
year.
that bumps you again?
Yeah, and you have to stay in that class for 2 years no matter what. So we go to 3A, but the thing about Tecumseh and especially softball is Gordon doesn't like, that's why we don't have undefeated records a lot of times because we play bigger schools throughout our regular season because he knows they're gonna have to match that up later, so, but
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
But yeah, at least 2 years. So no matter what happens next year, we gotta be there another year before,
It's
and then
3A 's gonna
then
be
you go
something.
back down to 2A and then you can eventually, they don't, it's kind of a,
yep,
it's not the greatest, but you know,
3A will
that's
be
the way
some
the
of
state.
Bigger Evansville schools and stuff,
Well,
right?
3A is actually Boonville also, so Boonville and Tecumseh will actually face each other in the sectionals more than likely.
That's
So they
interesting.
play during the year anyway, so
Okay,
it's something to be real proud of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
the girls work hard, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, any other board business? Moving on, I think it's the favorite time.
The favorite motion, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor, aye. We stand adjourned.
Okay, excellent.
Call the meeting to order, RDC meeting.
Okay, first up today is our taxing unit presentation. And so to remind everybody, this is based on us sending out letters to all underlying taxing units that are affected by the TIF areas in Warrick County. And we send out a letter letting them know what we're gonna do with TIF for the next year. The recommendation made by the Redevelopment Commission is to continue to collect and keep the TIF that comes in our existing TIFs. And so that goes out, and as part of sending letters and updates out, giving a taxing unit presentation is also part of that. So while some of you have seen similar presentations before, I will go through and I will ask if there's any questions. So just to get started, Warrick County has 7 TIF districts. 3 larger, kind of our older traditional TIFs, which are larger districts that you will see northwest up by Elberfeld, the Epworth TIF shown in green, and the purplish pinkish State Road 61 TIF. Those are large districts that were put in place. That image, if you're ever curious about the TIFs, comes off the Warrick County GIS page. There's a layer you can just go turn on for TIF districts, and up it comes. We just took a screenshot. We have 4 new smaller, what we're calling micro TIFs, that were put in place by the Redevelopment Commission in the Epworth TIF, specifically because the Epworth TIF is starting to reach its maturity date. And we have some new projects, and so these are small and kind of geo-fenced around specific projects that are taking place. And you can see in the pullout what those look like, and there's a slide later about what those are for. This is again just the larger TIF districts that we have in place. You can see the lines and you can see where they are. And what we do is we look at the dollars that are coming in, we look at what our debt is in those TIFs, and also what projects we have planned. And so just to give some people budget reviews, the balance in the Epworth TIF as of June 1st was $17.1 million. The estimated tax increment to be received is $7.7 some million. In the North Warrick TIF, the balance as of June 1st was $910,000 and change. And the estimated tax increment to be received is $375,000. And then out in State Road 61, that balance was $1.6 some million. And the estimated tax increment to be received is gonna be a little over $1 million. In the 4 newer small TIFs, there's been nothing built. Those are greenfields. And so there's no new assessment. So there are no dollars in those TIFs. So that's why you don't see them up here. When we talk about our expenditures and you look in the Epworth TIF, you can see the payments that we have due in the financials that you guys receive that we're gonna look at a little bit. We run it out all the way 5 years forward. And so we know how much money those bonds are going to cost us in the Epworth TIF and what we are spending. You can see those all listed there. In the North Warrick TIF, there are no outstanding bonds. And in the State Road 61 TIF, there are no outstanding bonds. If we look at projects and expenditures, you can look in the Epworth TIF, and we have dollars allocated for projects that are currently underway and dollars where we have agreements with Warrick County Sports Complex, the Dominion project, the Gateway District that's underway. Those are all based on those newer TIFs where we have geo-fenced them. We have annual ongoing services and other things that we have to spend dollars on. In the Epworth TIF, we've talked about new road projects and new infrastructure improvements as well. And we've gone over quotes on those new roads and infrastructure. Out in the North Warrick TIF, one of our ongoing commitments is the interest on the Shell building, which totaled us about $150,000 per year. That would move to interest plus principal at $364,000 starting in 2027. We spend some dollars on legal and civil and advertising and marketing efforts out that way. We've talked about what's next after the Shell building comes off the market. And we've also talked about potential utility upgrades as needed for these big projects that we have. Long-term plans we've gone over for these 3 TIFs. Wellness trail we expect to continue to support smart plan growth in the Epworth area. That's what we did with our smaller TIFs. It is still one of the fastest growing areas in Warrick County. It's our front door along Interstate 69, and our plan is to continue to support quality of place, business, and other amenities that benefit the community. In the North Warrick TIF, our long-term plans will continue to respond to industrial projects, expand those utilities as needed, also work on the interchange up there at 68 and I-69, hopefully developing some amenities at that intersection, and to continue to attract quality projects and employers. Out at State Road 61, that TIF was put in place for multiple reasons. It is a great location as far as existing infrastructure with rail and the river and utility access. We want to continue to attract companies. We've talked about doing an industrial park. We want to bring in good jobs, continue to support Alcoa and Kaiser, and assist on quality of life projects, first responder projects. We've already supported the Pathway School and Yankeetown Fire out of that TIF with the dollars that come in. Some of the benefits that we've seen from the Epworth TIF already in place, you can see the growth that's built on direct incentives and also infrastructure that we've put in along that Epworth TIF, the wellness trail, utilities and stuff, as the healthcare and now amenities and housing are starting to come in that area. Mentioned our 4 new smaller TIFs, and you can kind of see they're labeled there and what they are for. As I mentioned, the sports complex, the Dominion, and the Gateway Housing District number 3, and the Warrick Gateway District along Epworth and Oak Grove. Those are those small new TIFs. Nothing has, there's no new assessed value, hence we don't have dollars that we're keeping in those TIFs. And I had one slide just kind of, we've seen those projects. There's some updated pictures at the bottom as how that Gateway District is developing as really a live, work, play, go to school, all sorts of things coming into potentially that area. And the last slide I have on this presentation is just to remind people of how TIF works. This was put together by Baker Tilly, who we use for financial planning. And really, the crux of it, this is out in the 61 TIF, knowing that Rustic Hills Solar was coming and Kaiser Aluminum's Roll Coat 4 was coming. And you can kind of see that most of the rates in Warrick County are levy based. So I'll use county general. The state tells us we can raise the general fund 3%. It's a 3.1%, 2.9%. It's a rolling 6-year growth quotient. So more assessed value in that TIF does not mean more money for county general, cumulative drain, Anderson Township, the libraries, the Warrick County School Corporation. You can see them all listed there because they are levy based. The levy is set by the state no matter how much growth we have. You can see in the red up there, we have a couple of taxing units that are rate based. They can continue to charge that rate for all new growth that comes in. So you see Anderson Township cumulative fire, and you see some of these fire protection districts. And you see if once both of those projects would be in place, you can see the total annual dollars that would be lost. And that was once both are up and fully assessed, which that year originally was going to be 2036. But that may push a little bit because of the delay in Rustic Hills. But so you see that the dollars lost were $49,000. The dollars gained by tipping it that we can put right back in, like this board has seen, you know, providing a new vehicle for Yankeetown Fire that they weren't able to save for. The dollars gained each year would be 1.8 million. So just as kind of a little primer of how TIF works, I always like to do that. And that is a good example of how we think about it as well. And that is the end of the taxing unit presentation. If there are any questions. Okay. No questions, we'll move on to what's next.
Approval of minutes. Everybody had a chance to look.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Brandon?
Yeah.
There. Brandon,
Can you hear me now?
Brandon, approval of minutes, can you hear us?
Yeah, I could. I was just having some technological difficulties here, trying to get my mute off.
Also called a nap.
Yes, I,
Okay, thank you.
sorry.
Okay, let's go through financial reports. These were sent out in the packet that was distributed on Friday. So you guys have all seen this, our summary of all of our funds, but then going through, nothing has changed since you guys have seen it. You guys have seen these before. The forecasting and the potential projects are in green, and the forecasting out to 2030 with our funds in the Epworth TIF, the Northwest TIF, and then the State Road 61 TIF. And I'm happy to answer any questions about financials.
We're working on a sports facility economic development agreement sort of as we speak. Steve and I are gonna talk about it in the morning as well. So that's gonna be $9.5 million between, are you still dividing that partially between?
Those are all the incentives that this board's already approved, but we are having a meeting tomorrow with Jordan to move that agreement forward and get that signed. So I'm hoping that that comes next month, ready to go.
So we've
We've been
already,
waiting to get it back from them.
we've already provided the 5 million in improvements to the 21 acres. Bought the land, brought the land out of the floodplain, all that. Then we've got the 9.5 million of additional incentives, and then we've got tourism is gonna provide $1 million, and we've got a tax incentive that's worth 3 or 4 or 5 million.
So we're a sports complex area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the sports facility itself, yeah.
Do you know when we'll start seeing something?
Footers and foundations should be end of July, beginning of August. So, we're meeting out there next week to go over the final punch list item on the site, which is a little bit of issue on a curb or two. But other than that, the rest of the punch list has been basically done outside of a couple minor things. We're meeting on site to hopefully get that done, and then the civil kind of site work will be complete.
Yeah, it's ready to be built on right now. We just gotta get an agreement in place and get them rolled.
Are they still looking at an area for like softball, baseball?
So it's just indoors, it's just indoor
For now?
sports, yeah.
Any news on that golf facility?
So that's been real quiet for a long time. I can certainly ask and check back in.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the financials.
Motion.
second,
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon,
Hi.
Okay. Moving on to claims. You guys saw these claims in the packet, but the bottom 4 were added in a separate email that I sent because they came in after the packet. And so, those bottom 4 include engineering charges from Morley, and then the first payment on the AMAX grant that the Redevelopment Commission is providing to Warrick Trails as the expansion and the revitalization of AMAX Park. And so those were the only ones you didn't see, but those came in that email to the board. You can see that, we talked about our bonds and our debt. This is the month that those come due twice a year. And so you can see where those numbers of 400, 300 and $300,000 come in, which make this a big claims month at 1.376, 763 and 97 cents.
Do all those bonds run to 2030? Do you remember?
No.
Or some of them don't?
No,
The older one doesn't.
one ends early.
Okay.
Motion to approve the vouchers.
motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, Herb, the 2015 bond ends in 2028.
Come on, okay.
Okay, moving on to action items. We have a couple of action items. These were also sent in that update email. Courtney had to go out of town, so she just signed these yesterday. Sent you the signed versions of them. Let's go through. What you guys are doing is just basically ratifying Courtney's signature on these documents. The first one is the release of a lien for our taxpayer agreement. Some of you guys were not on the board when the redevelopment commission put a taxpayer agreement in with Swish on the development of the the orthopedic hospital along the wellness trail. And they had, their taxpayer agreement was we were not gonna release this until they paid $5.5 million worth of taxes. And so collecting their taxes and adding that up every year, they've cleared that hurdle. And so as part of that, we have this release of this taxpayer agreement.
And they're also now one of our largest taxpayers in that area. They're what, third or fourth, second or third or something?
They're in the top 5.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion, Steve.
Your mic, your brain's working. Got a motion? Second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon.
Aye.
All right, the next one is a right of entry signature. And so if you remember, we have looked at potential future roads in the Epworth TIF. And so in the blue are the 2 roads we've looked at, and that is Van Road extended from Epworth to Libert, and then connecting Grimm from the roundabout on the Wellness Trail up to Van Road. And so we had Meristem do a report. They've got to go look at wetlands and streams, and that was a real favorable report, but then they have to submit it to DNR. And so as part of that, they need to validate what Meristem said and whether they agree or disagree. So as part of that, this is a right of entry signature from the US Army Corps that they need a signature that they can come on your property and double check the work. And so if you look at that map, you can see we've got to get signatures from all of those different property owners. But where it comes into the redevelopment commission is the redevelopment commission. We are the owner of Epworth Point, where the sports complex is gonna go on the very left of that blue line. So this was Courtney's signature giving that permission. We in our office are working on collecting these signatures from the rest of the property owners. So we are just talking about Courtney's signature on that small parcel today.
I'll make that motion to ratify Courtney's signature.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon.
Aye.
Okay, one more signature. So every year we have, as part of having our bonds out, certain bonds you need to do continuing disclosure compliance. And so we have Baker Tilly put that report together. That report plus the signature page was in that email after Courtney signed it. So this is approving her signature on that so that we can send this continuing disclosure report in on time for 2026.
Need a motion to ratify Courtney's signature.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon.
Aye.
All right, I think that was the last thing. Well, maybe we got one more thing we might want. Okay, Epworth TIF, we kind of just talked about this. This is just, again, bottom corner is Meristem's report. We are working on several of these property owners and getting these signatures so that we can move forward. I kind of hit the nail on the head with that. Don't think there should be any questions. We talked about this as well in EDAC. We have a lot of things that are overlapping between the EDAC and RDC board right now with abatements and stuff like this with parks and upgrades, but we are working still with the 2 property owners. As you can see, there's actually 3 property owners. The town of Newburgh has a sewer easement between the green square, rectangle, and the Ohio Township Park, but town of Newburgh's fine with it. These 2 property owners are still just waiting for some stuff from the county, concerned about what limitations it would bring to them to put it through. They both see the value in a trail and a sidewalk, but we're just getting some letters from area planning and a letter from Bobby, letting them know about their access and their setbacks and all of those things. So we can hopefully move forward and make that connection. Speaking of the wellness trail and this connection, I wanted to bring one thing to the board is the big picture is the mid-road crossing that is on the wellness trail. So the wellness trail, the walking trail, right by the rehab hospital, crosses from the north side of the road to the south side. And so every other place, this was put in a long time ago. This was put in when the wellness trail, this was when Larry Taylor was here. Every other time we've had a mid-road crossing, Bobby Howard and Highway Department wants to put up some signal activated flashers, button activated flashers. They are solar. You can see one right there that's on Van Road at a crossing by the baseball softball fields. So solar powered, you push the button, flashers on both sides of the road go in. With more development on the wellness trail, with that park coming. My background with Warrick Trails is we always want to err on the side of safety, wherever we can. Line of sight, protection for pedestrians, and so what I would like to do is, I would like to do a high visibility crosswalk. We've been doing these green and white ones, and then also add flashers. We may have to add 4 flashers because this is a 4-lane road and it has a center median. And so you may get across and the flashers that stop. So 2 flashers, the last time we did them ran Warrick Trails $22,000 all in, installed, purchased, shipped and everything else. So if you do that times 2, you're looking at $44,000. And crosswalks for a 2-lane road come in at about $3,000 a piece, so you're looking at adding another $6,000 to that, which puts it. And the thing is, today, guys, I don't have an exact quote. Prices go up. Taking the last prices we had is, I was kind of putting this slide together. So you have about $50,000 to make that safety improvement. My recommendation would be it's a completely good use of those funds. Even though no one has had an issue there, we want to keep it that way. And so I guess what I'm saying is I want to either get the board's opinion or get a motion to move forward, but I would like to make that safety improvement ahead of all of this development and growth that's coming.
We have a motion.
I'll make the motion to.
I'll second.
Okay,
Preliminary was pretty good with that.
All those in favor?
okay. Okay, I'll have exact numbers next month. We'll get it approved and we'll move forward. Okay,
Might be a little bit too bad.
it might be. If I take the exact numbers from the last time, we'd be right at 50. But I mean, pricing continues to go up. Let's see, sorry guys, Courtney is texting me because she just got done. She's up in Notre Dame at a football clinic. Okay, some other updates. North Warrick Industrial Park, some of these you kind of heard through the abatements, but I'll give you a couple of updates. So, Project Vivid, I have an update meeting in 2 weeks. That's the big industrial project that we've been talking to for quite some time. That's that big green square up there. An update meeting with some leadership to see where that is at. We've talked about what kind of commitment they are willing to make as we continue to hold that property. Vanguard, told you the abatement's been approved, hoping that their project build out will start sometime the middle of July for them to get going and build out so they can move into that building. Project Duck is still going to July County Council meeting for the confirming resolution for their abatement. They did have team members in on the German side last week from Germany. They had some engineers really working with Woodward on how their production would set up and their machines would go in, concrete flooring and all of those things. So that's very positive. I've had conversations. I'm working to meet in person with the realtor. We talked about potentially putting an option on some additional land in case all of a sudden Vivid would happen and we'd be low on land out there. So I'm just waiting to get that in-person meeting. I was informed that the entry lights and the street lights are out in the North Warrick Industrial Park. Remember that we pay for those lights to be on. We are working with Lamb Electric on a repair. Basically, we had fixed these a little while ago, but what we fixed was the opinion is that there was a grounding issue and a lightning strike that happened out there. So now it appears that other stuff is also, that we didn't replace, that now is also bad, is also kind of fried. So they're gonna do a diagnostic and then come back with a quote to get that fixed. Right now, North American Lighting had said it's not as big of an issue because it's it's bright in the mornings. But, you know, certainly when we've had lights out, later in the winter and fall, it becomes an issue for people to drive in and it is dark out there. I am going out next Wednesday out that way to tour Phoenix's new building out off of Noble's Chapel, so I'll take some pictures and give the board a report on that. And then finally, North American Lighting asked about fishing in the retention pond that is next to them. And so if you remember, we've been trying as a board to always get rid of, we wanna eventually be out of the land business and everything to be full. So the pond on the north side of the road, we attach to the Shell business property. Is, hey, that's part of your property, you're gonna maintain it and everything else. The woods up in the north, west corner, we attach to Industrial Park Holdings in their building. To say, okay, it's in a conservation easement, but as part of that second building in that project, you're going to have these woods as well. So the board didn't do that originally when North American Lighting came in, so we own that pond. And so at the end of the day, it becomes a liability issue, not that anyone has a problem with employees fishing. So I did make a recommendation to see if they wanted to consider taking ownership of that pond. And then they could put picnic tables up and stock it with giant fish and do whatever they like. So, they're a bigger company than just here in Elberfeld. Their US headquarters is in Paris, Illinois, and their corporate headquarters are in Japan. So they are going to take that up the ladder to provide some feedback. But again, at the end of the day, we would want to be out of the upkeep, maintenance and pond and wood business. So just, that's kind of the quick update over there. Anyone have any questions? Okay, lots of moving pieces up in North Warwick, and a lot of them good. So that's good news. State Road 61, as you saw by the claims that you approved, the first payment for the improvement over there at AMAX was once that project got underway. They've already cleared a bunch of the trees in the new property rectangle that's at the top of the park. They had to clear those trees before the bat season because you only have a small window to cut a tree down in Warrick County. So that project is kicked off and that's what triggered that first payment. As that project gets moving forward, we'll provide some update pictures of construction and those things going on. But I wanted to update the board on that. Any other TIF or any other board business? With that, again,
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
We need to do it.